everybody. Harry McCullough. Welcome back to Bayou Time. I got a great show. We're gonna talk over the next 7 minutes about a bridge, but this bridge it leads to a lot more than just a bridge. And for that, we've got Jerad David, who's the director of communications at Nicholls. Thanks for being here. And I'm kind of joking. It is a bridge, but the bridge allows access to so much more to what's going on at the Nicholls Farm and some of our coastal restoration.
You know, we kind of joke. Thank you for having me, first of all.
Sure.
We kind of joke that it's the bridge to nowhere, but it's kind of way more than just nowhere. You know, we have this farm that the university owns in Thibodaux, and the back third of it has been inaccessible since 2014 when the previous bridge was demolished. Thanks to the Lafourche Parish government and our friends over at ConocoPhillips, $300,000 bridge is now constructed, giving us full access to the farm. And we're going to be able to do some really cool things in the way of coastal restoration in that back portion of the farm.
Yeah, a lot of times we think, I remember, you know, when everybody was going to school at Nicholls back in the day, you saw the cattle, you saw horses, you saw that kind of stuff. This farm is so much more. And again, may help down the road as far as different kind of grasses, different kind of trees, maybe are newer trees that we develop and that can be planted in the marsh, right?
More evolved trees. So Dr. Fontenot talked about at the ribbon cutting for the bridge the other day, there is this variety of tree that grows on Grand Isle. It's an oak tree that grows on Grand Isle, and it's evolved to withstand salt water.
Yeah, it's had a little salt water in its day, right?
A few times. So they've taken acorns from those oak trees that have grown down there, and they've grown an entire grove of these oak trees that are on that back portion of that farm. We now have access to that. So they can now go and collect acorns from those oak trees that are more resilient to coastal conditions. And they're going to create this tree seed nursery with those oak trees and different species of willow trees and just things that you naturally see on the coastal limits. We grow mangroves. Those types of things, they're going to be able to use those wetlands that are in that back part of that farm and propagate these plants and get seeds from them. So we have this repository that can then be used to go and spread across the entire Louisiana coast.
Right. And y'all have BitNep on campus that you guys work with, and,
right.
and a lot of different agencies that are kind of trying to rebuild the coast. I know you see people always try and volunteer, going out and plant things. A lot of times it's cypress. You're talking about the mangrove, those kind of, but now you can have real live oaks to go into that.
So when you can get to a point where you can plant an oak tree out there, that's much more substantial than just a mangrove forest or willow trees or grasses. An oak tree has a really solid root system that's going to help hold that coast together.
Do you need a certain place to plant those, or is it different as far as where you place something like that?
I'm not exactly sure. Like I said,
Yeah, sure.
This has grown on Grand Isle, which is, we'll say, a little bit elevated. So I'd imagine there's got to be a certain amount of land there. They can't just place it out in the water. But
yeah, whenever you see a ridge, a Momon Ridge comes to mind.
Exactly.
Those kind of things, like when you've dug a canal and on those sides, those things can really support those kind of trees.
So yeah, if you can get some of these trees up on these ridges, that then kind of gives us a little bit of a protective barrier back. All of this, you mentioned BitNet being on our campus. Ducks Unlimited is very interested in working with us on a lot of these initiatives. The Louisiana Department of Agriculture, they're working with us on the farm. This is all going to tie directly in with that multi-million-dollar coastal center that will be on our campus very soon. The coastal center is going to attract researchers from across not only the region, but from around the world. They're going to come in and do research projects that will hopefully save our coast. The farm now gives them a real life place to go and test their research.
No, that's awesome. And look, that's one of those things where you go, we should have had this all along, right? We've been knowing since the 50s, right? When we blocked off I guess in the 30s, when we blocked off the Mississippi, that we were going to have issues like that.
That's right.
So it's here now though. And you guys be opening that that new facility soon, right?
That's right. The Coastal Center will be right on the Nicholls campus, towards the back of campus on Ordon Drive. It's going to be a phenomenal facility. But like I said, I think it's equally important that we have the farm there at their disposal. In the back portion of this farm, there are these, originally it was crawfish ponds, massive crawfish ponds back there. That's going to give them the opportunity to go and flood these ponds and see how this water diversion works, how bringing nutrients into those areas work, which then ties directly into, okay, if water's diverted from the Mississippi into the Barataria Basin,
Right.
how does that affect things with nutrient flow? So
Yeah, I mean, those diversion programs are the bigger thing right now. We got
Right.
billions of dollars going into that.
That's
Obviously, some people don't think that's the way to go, right? So
this
do
gives them
research, right.
a real world, and it's one thing to have research on a small scale in a lab, but it's quite another when you can go out on multiple acres and test it in real life.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, we've been talking to some principals about what a year has been. Nicholls was not immune to that. This year, I guess as this year comes to an end, how was it for you guys?
We actually had a really good year. We had a near record graduation just a couple weekends ago. Record number of 4.0 students graduating, so we're putting out quality product. I do think we had a very good year.
We were talking about the little bridge that was built, right? Just a bridge that is opened up to so many different things for coastal restoration, all those kind of things. You're
right.
trying to do the same thing a little bit in the downtown Thibodaux with almost a business incubator, right?
So yes, we're going to be opening. We're in the process of purchasing the Capital One building downtown Thibodaux. That's strengthening our tie with the city and giving us a really good footprint to have this Bayou Region incubator. And what that is, a lot of universities and other places have this. I've seen it at a number of places that I've been, where it's an opportunity for entrepreneurs to go and get advice and grow their business. And so we are going to have one of these right here at Nicholls in downtown Thibodaux.
Yeah. What a great idea. I mean, look, a lot of people have great ideas. They don't know anything about business.
They
right?
don't, and they don't know where to start, and
Right.
they're sort of intimidated, I guess. And so we're going to provide this resource for people to go and really kickstart their business idea.
Now, it will be postgraduate? How does that work?
So it's my understanding it's going to be open to the public.
I got you.
So this is obviously we encourage our students and post students to go and utilize that, but it's a resource to the public.
I know San Francisco and Silicon Valley, and a big part of that, they had a bunch of these incubators, right? They'd bring in people that all had ideas, and most of those guys were computer programmers, those kind of things.
Yep.
But they all worked together, and then it started working with capital. Then it started working with business plans and all that stuff. So I guess that's what I'm talking about. You may have a great idea. Hey, I want to start a restaurant. I have no idea how to go get a loan from a bank or that kind of stuff.
So it provides the opportunity for multiple people to collaborate on a business. Like you said, I may have a great idea and I don't know where to go with it. You go there and you meet other folks who can help you along the way and creates these partnerships, and just a really good community venture.
Now, will you have professors that are available? I mean, how does that work? Or do people just rent space and just...
So there are going to be spaces for rent, and we will have resources like professors there who can give some advice. But ultimately, I think we want to tie it back to that the coastal center that we're going to have on campus. We want to promote preserving our coast and preserving our culture, equally important. We've done a lot of work. Dr. Gary LaFleur and Dr. John Ducey, they've done a lot of work to try and preserve our culture. And so if there are businesses that impact the economy of South Louisiana, but also impact our culture in South Louisiana, we encourage them to come and
check it out.
Yeah, check out the Bayou Region Incubator.
Let's be honest. We all want to save our coast. That's not cheap. And
That's right.
There's billions of dollars being spent from BP, the state, federal government. Somebody's got to be in the way of that money, right? And I'm
That's right.
and I'm not I'm not saying people being greedy, but that's businesses, that's employees, that's economy that can grow from that. I mean, New Orleans lived off of rebuilding after Katrina. They're still kind of living off of it, right?
Absolutely.
So if we can use that money to start new companies,
that's a big boost. That's a big boost to our local economy to bring this right to the Nicholls campus and try and solve a really big problem that we have.
Right. And look, who knows who's going to have the idea, right?
That's right.
'Cause we talked about diversion programs and that kind of stuff. Some people think that's the way to go. We got to get fresh water down there. Other people going, we don't need any more water.
Right.
So it's always a give and take. And you were talking about that's going to be part of the studies of the Coastal Restoration Center.
That's right.
And they can use the form to do a lot of that. So it all ties in.
It all really ties together. Dr. Clune's done a great job of having the vision to bring all of these pieces that we had at our disposal, bring them together and utilize them in tandem.
I tell you what, Jerad, as a 61-year-old now, and a guy who's raised kids in this community and watches your kids go off somewhere else, to have this ability to start having jobs here and those kind of things where people care about it, right? And they want to be here, but also have jobs that they can grow with, right?
That's right. I think ultimately that's what we're trying to do here at Nicholls is provide opportunities for our next generation to be able to stay here and live where they love being, but have an opportunity to really make a living.
Talked about that culture, right?
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
And that's all part of it, right? Is all having them stay here. And I think Louisiana in general has had an issue with that. We create all these great kids and we send them to Houston, Atlanta, and Nashville now.
So the more of them that we can give them an opportunity to stay home and contribute at home, and still make a life for themselves, that much better.
Yeah, and that's all they want is an opportunity to do it. And like I said, it's not like we don't have finances that are coming into this area. We just got to have, maybe it's our guys that come up with a dredge system or, come up with a way to build levees better.
Looking at countries like the Netherlands, they kind of set the benchmark for losing coast and trying to save coast. And so bringing some of those folks over here and bringing them to our coastal center and saying, okay, help us figure out this problem. Is going to be a game changer.
Right. In Dubai, they were building those islands out there.
That's right.
And, those machines were building those islands were made right there in St. Bernard Parish. It's like, can't we use a few of them off our coast?
Keep a few guys.
We could build some islands out there, have another Grand Isle or so, one looks like a palm tree would be great. Hey, Jerad, thanks so much, man. Exciting times going on. The next couple of years is going to be exciting to watch what happens.
Very exciting times at Nicholls.
Okay.
Thanks for having me.
Man, thanks. Appreciate you being here. We'll be right back with more Bayou Time right after this.